I love Trump, like as a person. I think Trump is funny and insightful. And I said this to Trump when he called me, all wounded about those texts. That was a moment in time where I was absolutely infuriated.
That was Tucker Carlson attempting to backpedal on some of the negative and insulting comments he had in regard to Donald Trump internally. And of course, the only reason why we know about them is the $1.6 billion Dominion defamation lawsuit that's been filed against Fox. Through that defamation lawsuit, we learned what the internal discussions were about Donald Trump and his lies about the 2020 election being stolen from him. Now, Tucker is desperately trying to hide the reality of how he feels about Trump during this conversation. It's truly pathetic. Now, before we get to any more of his ass kissing, actually, no, I want to address some of what he said in that first clip.
Yeah.
I think he's beautiful, he's funny, he's insightful. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, very natural skin tone, knows exactly how long a tie is supposed to be. He's a great guy all around.
He's in the best shape.
I've thought about golfer. It all day, and I think I've figured out what he's doing there. I think he's lying. No, it's nonsense. I'm not saying that everybody is utter nonsense. I think that he's trying to cloak it with like a little bit of truth or whatever. First of all, I love him. No, you don't. I mean, look, in a deeper sense, a philosophical sense, I don't think you're capable of love literally anything.
He literally said, I hate him passionately in a January 4th, 2021 text message.
Yeah.
I hate him passionately.
He said he's funny. Maybe he thinks he's a little bit funny. I'll actually say that in particular, I think that Tucker might think that he's funny because Trump's brand of humor is cruel. And I think that Tucker Carlson probably can't maintain an erection without that.
Oh my God.
But I think he's insightful. Come on. You take one look at Tucker Carlson's face and you know exactly what sort of guy he is. He does not think that someone like Trump is insightful. He 100% believes that he is way more intelligent than Tucker Carlson. And I know that because I'm that exact same type of guy and you do not think that he's insightful. Maybe you think that he's figured out something about how you activate the base or something like that. Maybe, because Tucker of course did the same thing. In remaking his image over the last 2 decades, he decided that I could just lie to people and it'll work. He's demonstrating that right now. But no, you don't love him, you don't think he's insightful. And it's his attempt to ingratiate himself to the base once again feels to me very like half-assed. Like even his tone of voice right there is, I love him, he's funny, he's insightful. Do I really, am I good now? Can I stop,
He knows he needs to be a good boy because as we also learned through those internal message exchanges, he's terrified of Trump supporters turning on him. He's terrified of the value of Fox's shares going down as a result of viewership.
Well, Anna, did he address all of those points?
He did
in the text
context.
messages?
Well,
Trump's a destroyer. He won't destroy us.
Let's get to those.
Okay.
Let's do a little refresher, right? Now, from one of the conversations Tucker Carlson had with his producer Alex Pfeiffer. On November 6th of 2020, Alex Pfeiffer asks him or says, Trump has a pretty low rate at success in his business ventures. Tucker Carlson responded, that's for sure. All of them fail. What he's good at is destroying things. He's the undisputed world champion of that. I love him, says Tucker Carlson. Come on.
Who's your favorite politician? Like the one that you feel some personal either attachment to or support for?
I feel personal attachment to no one.
You like some people, okay, I'm not saying you stand them or whatever, but
the only politician that has consistently been right on the issues is Bernie Sanders.
Okay, so now imagine you're in his story momentarily angry at Bernie and you text me, Bernie destroys everything he touches. He's the best person in the world at ruining everything. I love him. He's funny, he's insightful. Get the hell out of here. And that's not even the worst thing he said about Trump. I'm sure you've got others.
There's more. Some of the texts that Tucker sent to his staffers on January 4th of 2021. We are very, very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights. I truly can't wait. I hate him passionately.
He was saying, I was just mad at one of his staffers because a staffer gave me a list of names of dead voters. Then it turned out some of them weren't dead. I was just mad at him. we're almost able to completely ignore Trump, and I can't wait for it. Which honestly, from Trump's point of view, he probably hates more than him literally saying he hates him, because Trump does not want to be ignored, certainly by someone with a big audience. Tucker Carlson, and again, if you're a Tucker Carlson viewer, if you're a Trump fan, he does not want to have to talk about Trump. He wants Trump to be irrelevant. He wants Trump to have no influence, no say, no power. You don't want that. Why are you listening to a guy who desperately, passionately wants that to be true?
Also, look, this is a larger question that goes beyond Tucker Carlson, Fox News, and the pandering that they engage in order to maintain the audience they have. But what would happen if all hosts on all shows didn't pander at all and actually shared what they genuinely believe without caring about any backlash from the audience? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, actually, I want your opinion on this, because I was wondering about this, because obviously, while I try to, like I think, a lot of leftists or whatever, like empathy and compassion are pretty central to our value system. But that said, occasionally I just want people to suffer, including Tucker Carlson. So he is influential.
Yeah.
He's very wealthy and all that. He has many cabins with wood on the walls and everything. He cannot say what he really believes. Isn't that kind of like a curse? You can be famous and you can be rich, but you can never say what you really believe. You have to say utter nonsense. You have to pretend to love people that you don't. Or does he not care?
No,
because he pretends to be passionate about politics, so it would seem to be a curse to never be able to say what you really believe about politics.
I have trouble believing that anyone is comfortable feeling pressure to say things they don't actually believe, because I can't do that, right? Like, I struggle with having to pander to anybody, which is why, like, oftentimes I'll say what I actually believe. It'll lead to some backlash, and I don't know, I just don't care, because to me the backlash is worth it if I'm able to actually be honest about my genuine thoughts. You get what I'm saying? But for me, speaking my mind is more valuable than money. For a lot of people, money is more valuable than being able to speak their mind, right? So I don't know, it really depends on what your personal values are, in my opinion.
I hope it hurts him.
Now, last but not least, here are some of the messages that Tucker sent Pfeiffer, this time after the Capitol riots took place on January 6th. Trump has 2 weeks left. Once he's out, he becomes incalculably less powerful, even in the minds of his supporters. He's a demonic force, a destroyer, but he's not going to destroy us. I've been thinking about this every day for 4 years. Can we actually go back to the first clip, guys? Because I want you to keep that comment in your mind as you hear him being the pathetic coward that he is. Let's listen.
I love Trump, like as a person. I think Trump is funny and insightful, and I said this to Trump when he called me, all wounded about those texts. That was a moment in time where I was absolutely infuriated.
I mean, Trump has this incredible ability to unman all these like pretend strongmen.
Yeah, we've spent years mocking Mitt Romney for his dinner photo where he's like, and we've spent years mocking Ted Cruz for his photo. That Tucker Carlson clip is every bit as emasculating as all of that.
I love him. I love him.
No, but like think about where Tucker was on January 6th. Like, I've been thinking for years about being able to move on from him, and we're almost there. No, he's back. And again, if you're a Trump fan, what are you doing following this guy? It is inarguable now. He hates not just Trump. He hates what you love about Trump. He hates the Trump movement, which you are a part of. He hates you. Why doesn't that bother you more? But it doesn't bother most. It bothers enough, I guess, that Tucker feels he needs to do this, which I did not predict he would have to do. I thought he wouldn't even bother to address it. But also, we've seen so many people, even some people that say they're on the left or whatever, where like they can reveal who they truly are, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because people they have this like inertia of this impression of you or a desire for what you represent in the past or whatever, and so people can maintain this cult status when they clearly are not the person they've been pretending to be.
1000%. Now, when Tucker Carlson said what he said about thinking about how he's looking forward to not having to deal with Trump for 4 years straight, every day for 4 years, Pfeiffer responded, "You're right, I don't want to let him destroy me either. The Trump anger spiral is vicious." And Carlson says, "That's for sure, deadly. It almost consumed me in November when Sidney Powell attacked us. It was very difficult to regain emotional control. But I knew I had to. We've got 2 weeks left. We can do this."
Pick up a phone. You're like pouring your heart out in text messages, man. I've never been that deep in text with my wife. He's with his producers.
Now, with those comments in mind, we have more of Tucker Carlson pathetically backpedaling. Let's listen.
Those particular texts were pulled at the moment where I was texting with one of my producers because some idiot on the Trump campaign had sent us the name of these dead voters who had voted, and we went and I repeated them on air, and it turns out some of them were alive. So I was just, I felt humiliated. Yeah, like what? And I thought then, and I think now, that election was not on the level. It was not a free and fair election. I thought that then, I think it now. I will say this, my comments on TV, I think my texts reflect who I am. I'm vulgar in public, in private rather, and I use like bad language and stuff. I've worked in a newsroom my whole life, and my wife's always trying to improve me, which is fair. But my views are pretty transparent. I always say what I think. I can't keep track of too many lies. You know what I mean?
That is hilarious. That is one of the funniest statements I've heard from Tucker Carlson. On November 11th of 2020, by the way, Tucker Carlson claimed that dead people had voted in the election. That was a lie. He knew it was a lie. He said it anyway. Many of the dead voter claims he listed as evidence were immediately proven wrong. They were immediately debunked. Did he ever retract those statements?
He seemed humiliated by that. You'll notice he didn't like apologize to his viewers for him uncritically accepting an argument directly from a political campaign and then just broadcasting it without any thought whatsoever. That apparently didn't bother him.
Well, what he actually ended up doing was he apologized and kind of corrected his statements, except he said that some ballots, not as many as he thought, but some ballots were cast under dead people's names. Where's the evidence?
You're gonna have to ask the Trump camp, I guess. It's just, I mean, it's so odd. Like, I can't keep track of like too many lies, so I'm transparent. Well, don't worry, we'll keep track of your lies for you.
Yeah, we would do a good job at that.
Yeah, but I love where he was like, okay, so you've seen who I am, and I will apologize about being vulgar. That's not what people ever, no, that's seriously, that's like your girlfriend coming to you and you're like, I see this sex tape that you made with another woman. And you're like, you know what, you've got me. I did say some really dirty things in that. That's not the thing that we're worried about at this point. We're worried about the cheating. But also, again, just to go back to the last graphic I think that you showed, can you put up the one where he's pouring his heart out for the producers or whatever?
You really like that one, John. You really like it.
Because again, if you're a Tucker Carlson viewer, if you're a MAGA person, I knew I had to. We've got 2 weeks left. We can do this.
We can do this.
We can do this. Wait, we can do what?
Hang in there, buddy.
We can hang in there until Biden is president.
I know.
And then I'll be saved. You guys were storming the barricades. He was desperately waiting for Joe Biden to be president, and only then would he feel relief.
You guys remember?
He's more excited for Biden to become president than I was at that point.
1000%. I don't recall sending, you're a close friend of mine. I don't recall sending you a text message on election day saying like, oh my God, just a few more hours, John. Just hang in there, John. I can't wait for Biden.
Here, but I see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It really is. And remember, Tucker Carlson hit up Hunter Biden to get a recommendation letter for his son, so his son would get accepted into some fancy private school.
Yep.
Okay, so I am actually very willing to believe that Tucker Carlson has an affinity for the Bidens and clearly despises Trump, but is so scared of Trump supporters that he will will lie, he will degrade himself publicly, he will humiliate himself publicly. Oh, it's just so good, it's so good.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.